Welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV Spotlight On, where we have an exclusive with Real Housewives of Atlanta's Kenya Moore. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I'm going with the wind, fabulous. I'm going with the wind, fabulous. I'm going with the wind, fabulous. That's swirl. That's swirl. What up, AfterBuzz? It's your boy DJ Jesse Janedy here in studio for AfterBuzz TV Spotlight On. I'm joined by my bae, Courtney Stewart.
What's up, y'all? And his other bae, Kenya Moore.
Hey!
She's in the building, y'all. She's in the building. I brought you chocolate as well as chocolate.
With a little bit of tea.
Yes, with a little bit of tea.
Now, we're here listening, y'all, to Kenya Moore's infamous hit, Gone with the Wind, Fabulous.
Yes.
Now I have to ask
it's still a classic.
It is definitely a classic.
Girl, after I saw that next
See, I still want to dance to it. I still want to dance to it.
I actually have a question, because speaking of twirl, you kind of made that popular, you know?
Yes.
Beyonce has a song out called Formation where she says, I twirl on them haters.
Yes, she does.
Feel you were a little bit of influence on that?
Of course. You know, she quoted me in my Going with the Wind Fabulous after she came off of the Super Bowl when she did it a few years back. And I was just like, okay, my life is complete.
Right.
I was like, I can die now. Beyonce used my signature phrase. I loved it. So I live for her. She just can do no wrong. So it's just an honor to see that our show reaches such a vast audience, including superstars and icons.
Right.
Yes, it does.
Beyonce out here watching Roja, y'all.
She is.
Okay, I want to dig into it, Kenya, because every week here at AfterBuzz we watch the show, and I've been a fan of Real Housewives of Atlanta, and
From the beginning.
Nice.
When you came on the show, my biggest question was, why is Housewives putting non-housewives on the show?
Oh, well, then you should have asked that question from the first
Several
Housewives. I mean, Kim Zolciak wasn't a housewife. Sheree wasn't a housewife. I mean, that's the formula. They have some housewives, and then they have some single women. You want to see their journey. So it's just it's not a literal name. It's just the title of the show. But every single housewife franchise has single women on it. Yeah.
So within Real Housewives of Atlanta, you got asked to do it. Were you skeptical at first?
You know, I don't think I really thought that much about it in that way. I thought it would be something that was fun, something that would obviously sort of redefine myself in this space. And I thought it would bring awareness to a lot of the things that I was doing in terms of business and, promoting myself as well.
Had you watched it before?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well,
so you knew what you were getting into.
Well, yeah, because Lawrence and I were friends. I knew Lawrence before he even started Housewives, before Housewives even aired. So Lawrence and I have been friends for over 10 years. So, of course, I was encouraging him to do the show. And at that time, reality show was still a gray area. It isn't what it is now. So I was just like, I don't know. I'm not sure if you should do it. But you know what? Maybe have some fun.
We have a fan question, which kind of goes with this. James Lott Jr. asked, how do you keep your truth in reality TV?
I think anyone who watches me knows that about me. It may not be the popular thing to say or to do or to behave, but I'm always living my own truth. And I don't back down from, I said that. It may not have been the popular thing, or I did that. Or I can apologize if I'm wrong. So I guess for me, it's easy because I feel like I'm just a truthful person.
So do you feel like the show has given an honest portrayal of your personality, or do you feel like it's been, because some people feel like it's very one-sided, and because we don't see everything
you've said
that
they've
always,
used you kind of almost as a catalyst to be...
Because in a way, you guys do kind of become characters in certain spaces in the show,
and
to
it
a
changes
degree.
from year to year. I think my first year I definitely was cast as the villain. And I think my second or third season, I had a really redemptive year. I think that there were a lot of lies told on me that came to truth. And I think you just saw like a different side of me. And I think this year, every year you see growth. You can't see or know everything about a person shooting
45 minutes.
45 minutes in a 4 or 5 month period. So that, that's kind of impossible. Is an honest, it's honest at times. At times it's not. I think when you have other people on the show, other castmates that are being narrators to your story, that is what changes what you actually see. You could see something and go, yeah, she was right in that. But then you see the confessionals and you say, oh, she's a villain. Oh, this is Mike Brown. Oh, this. And you're like, what? So some people fall into that trap, and other people that are thinking, they go, no, that's not what I saw. And then there's editing involved too. So you can't see everything. There's so many things you don't see.
Right.
Just like the Miami incident.
Yes.
Oh, please.
That man, honey, that man had touched Candy's leg in the kitchen. That when they first came in, Sheree had a guy that visited her while she was there. He asked for the guy to give him his shoes, like gang people do. Like, what size you give me though? You need to give me the. He was doing the most. He was arguing with Shamia in the hot tub. So it's so much you didn't see. So when they didn't have my back when I told him or asked for him to be escorted out.
So you did ask security.
Oh, of course.
Because they made it seem like you were the one that was...
No, I asked Tammy first.
Right.
And no, I did. No. I asked Tammy first.
Okay.
And then you heard me call security. So no, I didn't go directly to security. We don't do that on our show.
So that's my question, because I know
security is in the background. You will never. How many times have you seen security on our show?
Well, on Real Housewives we haven't. But I mean, to put you ladies in a position where this man is acting crazy, no one's saying that he was not acting crazy and that what he did to you was disrespectful.
And it was so much more you didn't see.
I can imagine, because I'm sure Bravo didn't want to show half of it.
Right.
But
or just didn't have the time.
Within that, and within Bravo, I mean, isn't it, to me, because Andy was made it seem at the reunion like, yeah, why didn't you call in security? And my question is more so, I guess, maybe to Bravo, is that something that they need to actually make sure that you ladies do know that you can utilize that? Or because that just, it's scary.
It's breaking the fourth wall, and on our show we don't really break the fourth wall. If you notice, on other shows, when you see someone being tackled, you usually see a producer. Like with Portia and the fighting, twice you see a producer step in. You didn't even see security step in. So how do you? And that was a very controlled environment twice. So how do you say it's okay to break a fourth wall and go to security to say security have them leave? No, we do everything on camera.
Okay.
So I don't think it was really an option at that point. But they were there, and they're not always there. They were there because this was. Well, I don't want to talk about our security protocol, so maybe that's not the best thing.
But looking back now, having seen it and seen everybody's reaction to it, would you have done it the same way again?
Absolutely. I do. I did the right thing. I protected everyone that was there. Again, it was so much you didn't see, and I just was very, very uncomfortable, and I just felt like, you know what? This is going to get worse. He's drinking. He's getting more and more aggressive. I got out of the jacuzzi because he was actually arguing with Shamia, and I was just like, this guy is he's too much. It's just something not right, and he's just getting worse.
So why are the other girls acting like
none of that happened?
Like they were just watching what we saw and not actually being there and hearing that?
Because it was them trying to vilify me. Had it been anyone else, they would have been in full support of my decision to ask him to leave. And they would have been like, oh, are you okay? I mean, he was coming after you. Let it have been any other girl. And they would have been in full support. But they try so hard to make me the scapegoat or make people or viewers not like me. That's really the real reason. Let's just whatever. If Kenya's going to go right, let's go left. And that's really the truth.
So, I had met you at Golden Globes red carpet, and it was when you were doing a Celebrity Apprentice.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
There are times on this show in which you have frustrated the hell out of me, Kenya. But on Apprentice, I lived for you. That's what I told you. I was like, girl, I live for you on Apprentice. I love seeing you being creative and, putting a project together. I wish we could see more of that.
Yeah, and I wish we could too. And there are whole storylines of me at work that they cut out. And it's frustrating to me because I'm a boss. I feel like I'm very, again, thank you, creative. and I make things happen. Even with Life Twirls On, you saw maybe one or two film, tapings where I was at work, but I planned the whole process, and it was a lot of work. I did a whole infomercial that I planned, commercials that I shot that are all cut out, and this is a part of what I do day to day. I'm not a full-time reality star. I'm actually a businesswoman.
My question within that is, does it get to a point where what's next for Kenya Moore? Because I look at this, and I said the same thing about Claudia. I don't feel that... I wonder if this is the right platform for you to be showcasing it, because we aren't seeing that side of it. Mm-hmm. Whereas on Celebrity Apprentice, what I thrived on, the fun little shade is everything.
Yeah, but you saw us working. You saw the real work.
And I feel like I see the Kenya Moore who would put her hair up and, just sit on the couch and chat with her homegirls, versus where it's almost like war. When I when Roja comes, it's like, hey, that time of the year. Put your armor on it. By armor, I mean your contour, girl.
Imagine how I feel. Make sure those lace fronts are on tight.
Okay. So, but for me, this season, up until this season, I think this was your most redeeming season for me.
You think so?
Yeah, and here's why. I'm not gonna lie, I shaded the whole Matt situation because I was like, girl, where did this boy come from?
Yeah.
But then as I see you guys, like, it was more so when I saw him bring the dogs to you, I was like, actually, you know what? I think I kind of like this because it's so different, and I see a playfulness with it. And obviously, well, not obviously, but from a fan's perspective, with your past relationships, I have not been here for any of them.
Well, you haven't seen any. You've seen one, and that was season 5. That was my first season. So that's your only point of reference. Mm-hmm.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then, so what are the Roger Bob rumors? Because there are rumors.
What about the Roger?
So there was rumors that you and Roger Bob had. He was a past relationship with you.
I've never heard that rumor ever.
Okay.
I don't know what you're looking at.
The fans be telling us. They be
tweeting us and asking us. I heard a rumor about Roger Bob. In fact, it was made very clear on the show that I've worked with him before. I worked with Tyler Perry before. That's like saying I had an affair with Tyler Perry. I mean, I think that's kind of ridiculous. I've never dated Roger Bob, never kissed him, never held his hand, nothing romantic, and Demetria knows that. And if you ask Roger Bob, he would say that. I think it was we had a photo together maybe a year before, and some blog said that was possibly somebody I was dating, but that doesn't mean I'm dating someone because I have a photo with them at an event.
Now this happens to you a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like
just
one
silly.
Another one got tweeted that one-eyed
African situation.
And then
do you really think that there's truth to that? Like a one-eyed married preacher African.
Well, here's my question, because it got to a point where I do believe that when you guys shade, you guys are pulled from somewhere. Now that one specific comment though, even the way you laughed at it, was almost like, really, are we just here like just creating whatever? It's just
Mad Libs to a point where it's one thing where you say, oh, she has bad skin, or oh, she's fat, or oh, she has bad hair. But when you just try to make up a rumor in order to slander someone,
malicious shade.
It's malicious. That's not shade. I'm sorry, you can't qualify that as shade. That is a lie. That is slander, and you can't. You just. I feel like there's a line you cross, but that speaks to someone's character. When you sit and you profess yourself to be the queen of Scotland proudly, when you admit that your car was purchased by some man and it was gifts, and you qualify them as gifts, well then why would you be sitting here talking about rumors about anybody else? Look at your own life. Your own life says what you are. The rumors about the escorting and the this and the that and the money and the bags and all that stuff, we all know what that's about.
So
I don't have to say it.
The African, it was like last year everyone had an African.
What is it with Africans in Atlanta?
Because I was actually dating after my season 5. At the end of that season, I was actually dating someone from Africa. Then it became the man who bought Portia's car is an African, and he's married, her Rolls Royce. And so that's where it became, all these people were dating Africans, but I was the one who dated someone first.
Okay.
And so that's just where we are. But I just think that you have to draw a line with lies and slander, and just the way that particular person attacked Peter and their marriage. When 2 years ago you kept saying, I just think it's so wrong to be in other people's marriage, like 100 times.
Because she was in
having
it.
a situation.
Or was out of a marriage. Then it was fine to tell other people stay out of other people's marriage. But then you have unsubstantiated rumors, and you're looking this man in his face saying he's sleeping with this one and that one, and you have zero proof.
So her saying that, does that add to, like, now we see Cynthia and Peter, there's rumors of them being separated. Do sometimes the women on the show create things that actually affect real life situations?
You know what? I think it's individual, but I would not attribute marital problems because of cattiness, yeah. But I do think that the show, it's very difficult to live your life in front of other people. If you were married and you were having problems at home, no one would know about it. Mm-hmm. But if you were on television and your husband did something stupid, then now you have to answer to that. And that's very challenging and embarrassing. Mm-hmm. Who wants to be in a position where, my husband was somewhere looking like he's doing something inappropriate? So it's very hard.
With this season, why I think this is, for me, your most redeeming season is because we get deeper into your relationship with your family. We saw you do the family reunion. Again, I'm into the Kenya hair pulled up, running around
with my t-shirt on. Like, loved it.
And then we see you get on a bus and you go to your mother's house. And to me, why this is redeeming, because I do a lot of after shows here, and Bad Girls Club is one of them. And I love hearing about... and just in general, I love hearing about people's past and seeing them today and how they dealt with that, how they deal with depression. Because being in the entertainment business, we come across a lot of times where we deal with projects and emotions are very heavy. We're creative people. Right. So to have a past where you don't have this connection with your mother, and then now you put it on television. Mm-hmm. And so something that you already don't feel 100% certain and comfortable with inside, now other people are putting their opinion on it.
Yeah.
How do you feel, and how do you handle that specifically?
That's a really good question, and I do appreciate you saying that. It wasn't easy for me, and it took me a while to show it. I think I've talked about it before, but I don't think I've ever put myself in a position where I'm gonna
took the bus.
I didn't plan to. Literally on the way there, I got her address. I didn't even know where she lived. I've never seen her house before. That was all, on the way. Like, I got her, and not from any family member. I actually found a way to get her.
And Kenya Moore is just that buck. Like, nope, you know what? I got it. We're gonna go.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think what it was, and this is what I've never had before. I never had support. I never had someone to say, it's okay. If you get hurt this time, I have your back. And that's why it was so important to have my dad there, because my dad has lived the same thing with her. And you heard him say, she'll never answer that door. I didn't know he said that until I watched it with you all. I didn't know he sat on the bus and said, she'll never answer that door. And he said to me when I came back, or when he came up, and he said, you know how many times I've had that happen to me. And these are the things that I didn't actually know. And what I feel great about is that the show helped me to heal that part, because I never had an actual closure. I always
Did you ever have therapy?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, I'm going to say, of course. Yeah, I have. But I just always held out this hope that I can get my mother to talk to me. I can get a relationship with her. And it was always a part of me that just felt like I had that chance. And when that happened, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to have a child. I want my family back together. I want my children to know their family, which is the real, exclamation mark that I needed, or the push that I needed to make that step to the door. And I feel like the reason I could is because my dad was right there, and he knows my journey, and he's been with me through that journey for 40 plus years. So,
so where are you now with it?
I'm I'm actually okay. You know what? I feel like I did everything I could, and it was symbolic that she locked the door in my face, because I felt like that's what I needed. I needed to know that that door is going to be closed and not to go knock on that door again.
So why keep? I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, how are you and Aunt Lori now?
Good.
You're good from the.
I'm never gonna win that fight.
That was a really intense fight.
Yeah, it was worse.
Yeah,
it was worse. I mean, I never scream at her. I respect her tremendously, and she, I think, she's in a difficult situation because she's protecting her mother, her sister. But my issue, and I've always had the same issue with my mother's side of my family, they protected the wrong person. They should have protected that child who was in a room and the mother was sitting there pretending that she wasn't there, pretending that she didn't exist. Over and over and over through years and years and years.
Is that why Aunt Lori is always there for you, because she does hold all that guilt?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. And plus she's a good person.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there's guilt there. And so it's better for her to go, you know what, just leave that alone. You were wrong. Just go ahead and leave that alone. Because I think knowing that they were going to be watching, she felt like she had to have their back.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it was a bad choice. She lost a lot of fans from that because she was always...
Yep.
She's not me, so they can hate me, but they gotta love my eye. You know what I mean? Like, you can say whatever you want, but that woman rocks.
Yeah.
And then when she did that, and it was so, even love me, like you said, love me or hate me, you had to be on my side for that. And for her to not support me, and she's supporting me all this way, you see what I've dealt with my entire life, is that, that very polarizing incident in our family that no one ever chose to do the right thing from my mother's side.
You, in 2014, tweeted out, you were at Harvard campus. You said, sitting here on Harvard campus wondering, what have I done with my life? I went to school for the gifted and I lost my way. And I love that tweet because, especially now watching, hearing about what you've been through in your past and where you are, and then when we do get angry at you at things, you remind me of there are times where I'm like, okay, well, I mean, because I can be a shady bitch.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I know what I've been through. So in that moment, where you did go to school, you have had a successful life, and then you look back at it, why in that moment did you feel, where did you get lost? And do you feel that this had anything to do with that?
Well, this meaning the show?
Well, the show.
Well, that was that was
right before?
Yeah, no, that was right after my second reunion where the Porsche attack happened. Yeah. So that was right, literally I stopped there. And I had a meeting with someone who was graduating there and from their business school. And I was literally there for maybe 5 hours, went to that campus, had the meeting, and then I flew to New York, or maybe I took the train to New York to do Watch What Happens Live when I had my one-on-one with Andy. And that's when I was just like looking at, I'm sitting in, in the, I don't remember which hall I was in at Harvard, and I was listening, overhearing conversation. I was like, I understand everything they're saying, and just walking around and how beautiful it was, and just how, I could have gone either way. I could have been a child psychologist or an entertainer, and I chose one route. And although I'm happy where I am, it's still a part of me that yearns for that, because I do feel like I was gifted. I mean, I'm not Einstein, but I feel like I really could have helped a lot of kids, because that's what I
that's
what
actually,
I really wanted.
Honestly, Kenya, up until this interview, that's what I've been thinking for you personally.
Yeah.
Actually, is my question is I feel like we see you with these women, and sometimes I'm the type of person, I don't get along with people my age for some reason.
Right.
And so, but what I do with that is I target it into children, and I wonder for you if that's something that you would be interested in doing, and why aren't you doing that? Because I feel like that's your lane. Kids look up to you, they love you, and I feel like it would put you in such a happy place and almost fill some of the voids that you.
Yeah, I mean, you have a good point, and I think that's why I want to have children and my own family as one part of that, because I feel like that is a void, and that's something I need to be fulfilled, but I also need to be in a position where I'm mentoring or I'm teaching or I'm counseling kids, because I just have a passion for it.
Well, going back to that moment at Harvard, and then you're going to do this like one-on-one with Andy about this hot mess of a situation.
Yeah.
What makes you stay? Like, what makes you come? Like, I'm gonna do another season and do this essentially all over again in a lot of ways. Like, not obviously, hopefully not fighting, but you know, that sort of energy in your life all the time. What makes you keep coming
Doesn't it
back?
tear you
like,
down after a while?
Well,
emotionally?
It can be tough. I mean,
Because talking about it and watching it,
I know
like,
it can be very emotionally draining at times, and I was just, you know, I have had many conversations with Matt about this because people come in and try to go on his Instagram and talk crap, and he wasn't used to any of that. You know, no one knew who he was.
He's like the most authentic person on reality television.
No, he was just like, wait, what is this? And what are they talking about? And what? Because he's never watched the show.
Right. Oh, okay.
And there's things that he has watched, he's been sent clips of, so he doesn't have any context
for what.
And so he's just like, wait, what happened? And you know, because I don't talk to him about. I'm just me with him,
which should be good for you to have that balance.
Yeah, no, it is good, but he's not prepared for that hate. He gets, trust me, he gets so much love, but it's that 10% of hate that really gets into your spirit sometimes. And because I have such a resilient spirit, I'm just like, girl, drive by. Whatever. You wish my dog committed suicide because he didn't want to be with me. Okay, funny, ha ha ha. And I don't even give them the satisfaction of blocking people anymore. I just mute them. Like, you're not even going to get the satisfaction to know I even saw you. You know, what makes me come back? There are bad things about doing reality TV and exposing yourself in this way on such a huge platform, but there are so many great things that have happened in my life as a result of it too. I think that my businesses are thriving more than ever. My personal life has finally turned around. And is it attributed solely to being on the show? I don't know. I just know this is the path that I'm on, and I'm being led spiritually, and eventually I will find my way to know what completely fulfills me. And I have the platform to be able to do that and the freedom to do that because I only work 4 or 5 months out of the year. Right. So it's really a great job. It pays well. Your businesses are getting free promotion, and I have the freedom to focus on a family and a love life. So I think it's a lot of good in it.
So, okay, so we got to kind of blast through a few questions that I want to get through. So,
did you write them, or is it like?
Well, I have a couple in my head because it's like, I've been waiting for this day.
You can
All right, so we get the situation with. Well, actually, before we do that, so you did Celebrity Apprentice. We see Portia's about to do Celebrity Apprentice. Obviously, you guys sit on two different sides of the table, but what would be your advice to Portia for Celebrity Apprentice? Yeah, seeing that you've already done it, and
you know, I'm trying to be nice.
Girl, you don't have to be. I mean,
you know, I don't think she was chosen for her business acumen. I think she was chosen for an entertainment factor. Okay. And so just play up the entertainment factor.
Okay.
So I just want to, with that. So is Portia as honestly as, I don't want to use a horrible word like vapid, not as she's portraying herself, or is that just an act for her character for the show, or because
you can watch and tell that that's genuine, just the things she gets caught up in saying and doing. Yeah, I mean that's just who she is. It doesn't mean aside from her that you're a less, you know, if you're not a rocket science, that you're somehow not as valuable or you know, in life than someone else is. It's just like you have other gifts. Okay.
Well, I was just at the reunion, like, Andy, why did you have to go to Portia when they were talking about the Mike Brown thing, and then they went to Portia because her grandfather,
and then they flash back to the real
political, like Portia's the political.
Honestly, that is the most, you know, what I was trying to. You know, I wish we were friends because I would have pulled her aside a long time ago and say, you are ruining your life. Like, you used to be a really nice girl. And now you just are this, you know, proud thought. And just like your actions, it's just like, I don't know, you've lost your way. You know, I don't know. I think Cordell made her a lot more respectable.
So, okay.
I would say what was most disappointing, what I was trying to convey before is that when you have the history that you have, it's like being a Kennedy.
Yeah.
And then you are a part of someone else's legacy or your family, which stood for nonviolence and civil rights. And you don't simply admit that you did something wrong and that you didn't make the right choice and you've embarrassed your family and that you will do better and you apologize for what you've done and you move on. I never understood why you can't see that is what is really required of you. Why can't you get that you at the very least should be apologizing regardless of the how? Mm-hmm. Your actions are the why. You understand?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And which you fall under.
Which you fall under. And so you can make a choice. And regardless of what someone does, I mean, Martin Luther King, her grandfather marched with him. He would get spat on, slapped, turn the other cheek. The whole platform was about nonviolence. And you think by attacking someone now 3 times, you don't think that there's something wrong with that? Because before it was an isolated incident and everybody said, oh no, Kenya's crazy. This is isolated. She caused it, and then now we're at 3 incidents where we know of where, it's involved violence. And 2, she, attacked someone. Mm-hmm. So it's sad.
I definitely agreed with the past reunion episode where you said, look, we all do things to agitate each other. However, you don't take it to the physical point.
Never.
But
because we're at work.
Exactly.
This is a job.
I want to know, before we wrap up, just because you did say that we don't see a lot. So this season, and we're not going to see it again because she's off the show, Kim Fields, there was a relationship there, which obviously we only saw one portion of the relationship because there was a storyline with it. So kind of fill us in. How did it get from you saying, she was this iconic person on television to... the shade. I do
still feel like she was an iconic person in TV.
You still respect the work that she has done.
You can't erase that.
So my question is like, was it the moment, like for the I don't want to call it anger towards her, but was it, because I didn't think it was right Cynthia had the meeting with both of you guys. The afterwards, after she had already picked Kim, as a friend, I think personally,
but
people did say you didn't call, or it looked like you didn't call or let Cynthia know you weren't going to make it to the menu.
And she said it on the reunion. Of course, I called and I also told her I'll email it to you. I give me 5 minutes on the phone. I have far better ideas. Now I respect her from having more experience as a director than me, but.
I wasn't a fan of the commercial. Honestly.
The commercial looked like it looked like an iPhone YouTube commercial. Let's be clear, and that's no shade. That is all tea, no shade. It looked horrible. It had nothing to do with luxury, beauty. It was so off-brand. It was a letdown. Okay,
like when Sheree's ex-husband's the main star,
right? Anyway, and that's supposed to be what your fabulous idea was, where you thought it was so fabulous that you didn't even listen to my pitch. You've seen my hair care commercial. Kenya Moore hair care commercial is beautiful, and I did that in like half of a day. Where it got bad is where I kept. You want to know the real tea?
Yes, I want to know, because it seemed like
the real tea is that she became close to Phaedra.
Okay.
That's the real tea.
So
Phaedra in her ear, and then it was like, if you really look at the footage, she said in Miami with Candy, oh wow, it could have gone left with that guy. Then somehow it became at the reunion, I wasn't threatened, but you said it could have gone left. What are you talking about? You're the most inconsistent person on the show. She would talk about everybody being indecent, showing too much boob and showing that, but Phaedra's slapping her ass in the camera. But that's her friend, so she didn't speak up about that. Portia came for her husband twice. Not only did she do it when we were all as a group, And she said something about him being delicate. But then on the last episode, she said,
Yeah.
did he let his hair down?
With
And
Phaedra.
With Phaedra. But did Kim come for her? No. So don't, see, that's what I'm saying. It's the games. It's all these layers that you have to be a thinking person to get through them. And some people just refuse it because they're like, oh, we don't like her, so we're just going to take Kim's side. But the real issue is I believe she got sucked into the whole Phaedra being in her ear, and Phaedra has come for me all season for no reason. Please at least give me that.
Well, do you feel Phaedra, it just gets to a point where Phaedra's still just bitter off the Anguilla situation? I mean, because really...
I think it might, who knows what it is. I mean, this woman is not innocent. She's gone on national talk shows. She went on Arsenio Hall and said I had asked her husband to give him a fellatio. She had no facts, no proof, nothing. She didn't even make a phone call to me to say, hey, can you tell me about this? But she went on national TV to happily repeat the story and never apologized for that. She never apologized for believing it and not even allowing me to prove to her. Even though many times I'm like, we can go on my phone. I've never ever called your husband. I can
in that moment, like, you're at the reunion and all of a sudden it's like, oh, text messages and things are being sent. And you're like, wait, what? Like, how do you guys keep your cool in that moment?
I laughed at it. Remember the same way when Portia said about the one. I laughed because it's so laughable.
Like, millions of people are gonna watch this.
Again, I'm in LA twice with I'm in LA with Apollo. Then I'm in LA, which I was with Matt at the time, with a one-eye African with this preacher. Like, it's just like, I just laugh because it's so ridiculous. Trying to get saved, girl. You know? And she said more. She said, "Oh yeah, you asked for another Bentley," and he said no. I was like,
"What?"
Yeah, that's what she said. They didn't play that part. Get that. I was just like, "What?" It was just so ignorant and laughable how these girls dig so dirty and low to just try to take me down. And it's just like, how do you keep your cool? I think that at that point it was so ridiculous that I just couldn't do anything but laugh.
Do you get to a point where these girls, as much as final question, where you get to a point where, okay, we've been through so much, there's so much tea, there's so much shade, Portia, Phaedra, all these girls, but at the end of the day, we are a group of women, and there is some sort of unity at all, or is it like, girl, we go film. Yeah, is there a little bit of black girl magic in
You feel that there is, but then you see the behavior and what people will go through to just trash you, and then you lose your faith in those women.
Okay.
Even with Nene.
Which you said you guys are
good.
Yeah, we're good now, but I'm saying we'll talk. We have thrown shade at each other, but I don't feel I've ever gone below the belt with her. I really think she's been very shady with me, but I don't feel like she's ever hit me below the belt. At least not that I can recall right now.
Whereas
and
with
so
the
you
can
you can rebound from that as long as you feel like, hey girl, you're this, and honey, girl, you got some big teeth, and oh yeah, you have big feet. You can come back from that and salvage a relationship and go, okay, I'm sorry. But when you start throwing out wild rumors about people's husbands and saying that they were, with every 19-year-old and somebody accusing you of faking relationships and paying for this and paying for, it's just like, it's just, you see that person's character and then you put up that wall and you go, you know what, I will never trust you because I know what you're capable of.
Is that the conversation you and Candy had when you were watching the reunion? Are you guys talking about it? Talking about a similar somebody?
Oh, tea. I'm not gonna mention any shade.
So Kenya, as a fan, if I'm watching The Real Housewives of Atlanta, we're going into next season, right? And I want to really get to know, I want to watch the show, but at the same time, I want to really understand the story that's going on. Mm-hmm. As a fan, what's the best advice you could give a fan to really be on their P's and Q's? I'm going to watch the show. I know you guys do blogs.
Yes.
Following you on Instagram. So, what's if I want to really make sure,
get past the BS and get to the full story? That's a good question. You're asking really good questions.
Girl, I've been waiting for this.
I think stuff like I think what helps us help you guys is stuff like when me and Candy were blogging, where she was doing the video and she's like, wait a minute, that didn't happen, and this is what, like, it was instant. She was responding to what you were seeing, and it was instant. Okay. So I think
you just have
that's
very right there for Kenya Moore Productions.
Yeah, I think that's telling. And then I just think you have to really, like, you be a super fan of the show and know, wait a minute, so 2 years ago she said this, but now she's doing this. And you have to just be, you know, observant and really be non-biased and see the real truth instead of, this is my favorite, I'm just going to believe what they do. I mean, in what they say. Really just see the actions.
Do you want Nene back full time?
I think Nene brings a lot to the show. I mean, she's funny. She can, you know, she's capable of breaking down. She's capable of being emotional. She's capable of really showing her life. So, yeah, I think she's a great addition to the show, or re-addition to the show. Yeah. And, you know, she's the last OG, you know, so you can't take away the fact that she has helped to build this platform. And even as angry as I have been with her in the past, and I felt like she really has betrayed me in the past, I feel like you cannot take away the fact that she helped to build Real Housewives to where it is now.
And what about Stacey Dash? How's your relationship with her?
Oh, you know, that's all a rumor. I think Andy said she will never be on the show. Okay. So I think you can pretty much put that one to rest.
You ready? Yeah. All right, so where can everyone follow you and keep in contact with Miss Kenya?
Oh, yes. On Instagram, I'm the Kenya Moore. Twitter, Kenya Moore, and I think Facebook, I think I'm the Kenya Moore on Facebook.
And what's the next project you have coming out?
Kenya Moore Hair Care, child.
Man, is it in CBS?
Yes, it's going to be at least 6 months. It's a long process, but I'm going to be in other retail stores, salons. I'm going globally. I'll be in London. I'll be in Africa. Kenya Moore Hair Care is going global.
And 2 more weeks till you're in your place.
I'm hoping less than that, but I'm going to say 2.
More.
Okay.
Can you tell us,
I'm so excited.
Is Sheree in hers yet?
No.
And has Nene given her furniture back?
No, I wouldn't ask for it back. I was happy to help.
All right. Well, thank you for coming by and keeping it 100.
So yes. You're
and
very
for
welcome.
all you guys out there, make sure you guys hit us up at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Subscribe to us on iTunes, please. And you guys can tweet me at DJ Jesse J.
I'm at Stuart Starlet.
See you at Row High After Show. Peace.
Yay!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
I don't have time for lunch.
I'm
gone with Lynn Fabulous.
What? I'm gone with...
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.